Okay, congratulations, you're on lesson 2-3. This one's kind of fun. It's about number puzzles. You might have seen this some mentalist act where somebody picks a number and then they go through all this stuff and it turns out they either can figure out what the number is or there's some magic number that they've already written down that shows up as a result of it. And this lesson explains how that works. So this first one, you can see there's an email puzzle. You might want to try it yourself and see what happens. There's the trying of it, and then what exactly has occurred along the way, and that's what we're going to get to in this. And it really is about practicing identifying situations and writing equations to describe what's going on in those situations. So read through 2-3, go through the guided examples with me. I'll be doing that online. And also do the CTR and ATM as you go through this. And have some fun with this one. I think it's kind of a kick. Second page, we've got the guided example, 7 is heaven puzzle. I'm going to go through a different guided example in the video. What's interesting about this one, and I suggest you try doing it, is when you go look at it, you can see that first they have you add 1 and then multiply 2, then multiply 3, then subtract 4 and then add 5 and then subtract 6, and then your answer is 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. When you're done with it, the question I would have is, do you think you could do an 8 is great puzzle? Is there something you could do where you have that same sequencing and you end up with the number 8? You can use algebra to create a puzzle. We'll go through an example like this. Check out the example 2 about how you could make your own puzzle and be able to do it yourself. A little bit of reading, some examples. I'm going to go through some with you. Remember, covering the ideas, applying the math. Get yourself ready for the mastery quiz. Good luck. Okay, lesson 2-3, guided example. Work the puzzle below with a few numbers. Then use a variable to create an expression to explain why the puzzle works. First, we're going to begin with a number. You can pick any number you want. I think I'm going to start with 3. Then I'm going to add 2 to that. So 3 plus 2 equals 5. Multiply that by 3. 3 times 5 equals 15. Multiply that by 4. So 4 times 15 equals 60. Then subtract 15 from that. So 60 minus 15 equals 45. Add 2. 45 plus 2 equals 47. And then subtract 12 times your original number. So 47 minus 12 times 3, and that would be 47 minus 36 equals 11. Okay, that's what I got. I got 11. What did you get for your answer? I'd be willing to bet that you got 11. 11, right? 11. Well, that's how the puzzle works. You always get 11. Let's take a look back at what's happening here. We wanted to try this with a variable and see if we can explain what's going on through the problem. We're going to carry this along so that we can see what's happening. So we begin with a number. So that's n, some number. Our next step is to add 2. That's n plus 2. Multiply that by 3. That'll be 3 times n plus 2. And that gives me 3n plus 6. Multiply that by 4. So let's see, I've got 4 times 3n plus 6 is going to equal to 12n. plus 24. Okay. Then it says to subtract 15 from this. Well, that's going to be 12n plus 24 minus 15 is going to equal 12n plus 11, right? 9, sorry, plus 9. Then we add 2 to that. 12n plus 9 plus 2 equals, there we go, 12n plus 11. And subtract 12 times your original number. Our original number was n, so I'm going to have 12n minus 12n plus 11 equals 11. And again, we got to what we wanted, which was 11, right? That's the solution to it. So here is the puzzle being played out, giving us 11 for whatever number you choose. And this is it being written in a form where we can put it in variables. You'll see that I use the distributive property here so that I could keep track of what's going on, which made it a lot simpler to see what's happening here at the end. It would have been much more difficult if I hadn't done the multiplication along the way to figure out what was going on. So that's our first example. Make your notes on it, pause, come back when you're ready, and we'll get on with the next example. Welcome back. In this example, we're going to create a number puzzle that begins and ends with the same number. So we may all pick different numbers, but we want to start to make a puzzle by writing it with variables. So I'm going to begin with some number. Well, what number is that going to be? That's going to be n. You might pick a different variable. If you've got something you like, use your variable, that's fine. Then I'm going to do something to it that I'm going to have to undo later in some way so that I can end up with n as my answer. So first step, I'm going to add 3 to it. Add 3. So I got n plus 3. Then my next step, I think we'll multiply by 6. So that'll give me 6 times n plus 3, 6 times n plus 3, and that's going to equal 6n plus 18. My next step, well, I've got this 3 in here, I think, and I multiplied by 6. Need to start undoing that, so I'm going to divide by 3. I don't want to make it too obvious, like multiply by 6, divide by 6. Nah, anybody could see that. So 6n plus 18 over 3, all divided by 3. 3 goes into 6 2 times, that's 2n. 3 goes into 18 6 times. That would give me 2n plus 6. And then for our next step, let's get this, I don't know, we want to begin to get that 6 out of there, right? So I'm going to subtract 5. 2n plus 6 minus 5 equals 2n plus 1. Okay, and we can then, I got to get that 1 out, right? Subtract 1. And you can see that what I'm doing here is kind of interfering with a little bit of the knowledge about just what's going on with this. Subtract 1. So 2n plus 1 minus 1 is equal to 2n. You can guess what I'm going to do next. I'm going to divide by 2. 2n divided by 2 equals n. And now I've got a puzzle that could be presented to somebody and have them do it. You could make your own puzzle, do that however you want, have them pick a number. So say they pick 3 again. So I got 3, and then I'm going to add 3. 3 plus 3 is 6. I'm going to multiply this by 6. 6 times 6 is 36. I'm going to divide 36 by 3. That's going to be 12. I'll subtract 5. 5 from 12 is 7. I subtract 1. 1 from 7 is 6. I divide 6 by 2. I get 3, which is my starting number. So I've got a puzzle here that could work. Now I'd love to see what your puzzles look like. You really should work on creating your own. There is another guided example in the text if you want to work through that one. But do try it, see what you can get, have some fun with it. Make notes, getting ready for the next example. Okay, this is example 3, and this one is a little bit more specific. Create a number puzzle so that the answer is always 1. So that's our goal in this. And here we've got some steps that are being suggested that we might use for this. We begin with some number n. So we've got our number up here. And for our first step, we add 4 to it. So we have n plus 4. And then our next step, we multiply by 4, and that's going to give us 4n plus 16. Remember, we want to do this expansion. Add 4n. So 4n plus 4n is 8n plus 16. We divide the whole thing by 8. If you can see what happens here, we've easily doing that. So we've got n plus 2. Subtract 1 from it. Well, n plus 2 minus 1 is n plus 1. And then lastly, we subtract the number we began with. We subtract n. N minus n plus 1 equals 1. We have a puzzle that gives us 1. That's our guided example 3. I hope you have some fun with these. Enjoy doing the puzzles. Good luck, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you've done prior to your mastery quiz.